What's up, guys? Sorry, I was a little delayed there. What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that don't know me, I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellow Bird Counseling. Well, what is that? What's a Yellow Bird Counseling? Well, our normal day to day activities include providing individual, couples, families, and group therapy to children, adolescents, adults, teens, men, women, non binary, transgender folks. And we have several therapists that specialize in different areas that can adequately serve each population. So if you're more interested in that and the services that we provide, please definitely feel free to click the link in our bio so that you can get access to those services and share that link if you know somebody that might can benefit from our services, or if you're interested in our services yourself, you can also access contact with us through those links in our bio. So if you could help me share this live to bring awareness, okay? We're going to just be going back to what we were talking about. I think it was last month or the month before about coping, because obviously we are in a time now where we're going to have to cope, right? We're in a time now where we have a choice on how we're going to cope. Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on 1 second. I don't want my phone to die. Be right back. Oh no, I thought my charger was over there. It's not. Sorry, one more moment. Okay, found it. Sorry, my phone's about to die. Trying to keep it on. But yes, back to what I was saying. We are definitely in a time now where we're going to have to cope and choose how we want to do that, right? Thank you, Danielle. Thank you for the shares. Can y'all share? Can y'all help Danielle share? Can y'all? And if you guys could share over here, that would be great. There's different ways to share. You can copy and paste our link. If you click on the share button, click on copy. Or options should come up for how to share. Just click on copy link. And then what you can do is either text it to somebody, DM it to somebody, message it to someone. Or you could simply just click share and share it on your platform to different people. Okay, the platform you're on to different people. That would be very, very helpful. So the topic I kind of had this week was about sad season, but definitely needing to add how to cope with election stress and the stress of the election results. Because for many people, let's be clear, many people were very happy. But there were also an important amount, many more people who were not happy, who were very displeased with the results, and rightfully so, because it caused fear, it caused anxiety, it caused a lot of threat, if you will, to the people that are not going to benefit from the new president-elect, right? So those of us that aren't going to benefit and in fact may be brought into further disparity, right? Because of the new president-elect and their plans for regulating the nation. We really need to talk through how to cope with that. right? Getting over it probably won't be a thing, at least for 4 years, right? But there is a lot of uncertainty about what will take place in these 4 years. And possibly if some of us that are of an unfavorable, marginalized population will even be alive to talk about it. So those are very fair and real concerns to have with someone who may not have your best interest at heart, right? That's like with anybody. So you might work at a place and you have a coworker that you just know doesn't like you or what you represent, right? And that just, they make it known that they don't like you and they don't like what you represent. But it's worse when you have a boss, right? Or someone over you that is very open about they don't like you and they don't like what you represent. That is the level that we're talking about, right? It makes it hard to go to that place. It makes it hard to work at that place. So imagine if the leader of the nation you live in, which we've already done this before, but we're going to have to do it again, is not for different marginalized populations, and we have to live here. So that's very, very difficult to deal with. I just want to say first, any emotions you have around that are valid. Okay, they're very valid. It's valid to be scared. It's valid to be sad. It's valid to be angry. It's valid to be irritated with your coworkers that are antagonizing you and just throwing salt in the wound, and you know what I mean, and you know who those people are. I don't think I should have to expand on that. Everybody, if you know, right? But that's easier said than done, right? It's easier said than done because of social norms and things that society expects us to do, which puts pressure on us to behave in a certain way, or maybe even suppress how we feel about things. But I'm here to tell you, if you never knew of another reason to get therapy before today, now would be a great time, okay? Because you might not have a mental illness, however, but you are scared and anxious and angry, and there are just going to be people around that are going to trigger those things. So it's going to be very important for you when you're in places that you can't help but be there, such as your work, where you have to make money, and you're around these people that just want to kind of dig it the wound even more. Again, if you know who I'm talking about. Then it's going to be very important that you have someone to process that with, because having that unresolved anger and carrying that around with you for 4 years, even 4 months, is going to be very hard. Okay. And it could cause more issues than what probably any of us can afford to have right now, because we already have issues outside of our control. So on top of having issues outside of our control, and we also have issues within our control that we're not addressing, it's going to make things a whole lot harder. Okay? So if you never thought that you needed therapy before now is a good time to at least get in there and talk to someone about how you feel about the election results, okay? because everything that you feel around it is valid. Okay? Your anxiety is not just a figment of your imagination. The stress that you feel, that the way you will be impacted by the future president-elect is not extreme or invalid. These are very real concerns, okay? So it's definitely good that you have somebody that you can talk to about that. Most favorably, a therapist who you can trust, that shares your same ideals, right? Somebody that you know you can talk openly with and won't be judged, right? So the more likely thing is either someone who looks like you, or someone who is very open about their stance if they don't look like you, if that makes sense, right? And so you're able to go where you know to go in order to get the help that you need, and be able to talk about this, because you need to be able to talk about it, okay? Because it's going to affect you in ways that you might not even thought of, or ways that you can even control, okay? Let me read some of these comments. I'm not going to give them any control over me because I know a God. Exactly. But we have seen some pretty horrific things happen, right? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, if y'all could, please tap the screen and share the live to bring more people into the space that may need to express themselves. Okay? Please tap the screen, share the live. With your friends, family, co-workers, church members, anybody like that. If you could, please. And Danielle has done a lot of sharing. Can someone else please help Danielle share? And Dana. Hey, Dana! What you doing, Dana? Dana's one of my associate therapists. They are great. Yes. Yes. Can more than just Dana and Danielle, though, share? Can more than just them? Can y'all share? Please, please, please. Okay, cool. So there's that. But some things that you might want to focus on as far as coping, if you go to that therapy appointment and you're like, oh my God, I just want to talk to somebody about how I feel about the election results. So the things that you might start with more specifically when talking to that person is your ability to engage in activities that you enjoy. How easy is that for you? Do you have activities that you enjoy that you haven't been engaging in? How often is it? Talking about how well you're able to engage in activities that you enjoy. Do you do it often enough? Do you need to increase it? How do you increase it? Things of that nature. So that's one thing you would want to address with them is, how do I maintain doing things that bring me happiness and that I enjoy throughout this time, okay? Of a lot of stuff that I'm not able to help. Thank you, Miss Courtney Love, doing all with the likes. Thank you so much. Thank you. So there's that. Secondarily, you would definitely want to talk to them about how you are channeling your anger and anxiety and fear during this time. How are you able to channel your anxiety and fear? Oh, thanks, Braid King. Look at that. How are you able to channel your anxiety and fear during this time? Are you able to do that in a way that you feel good about? Do you feel like you're in control of it? Do you feel like it's healthy? Do you feel like it's going to bring you overall benefit in the way you're doing it? Or do you know how to channel? If you don't know how to channel your anger and your anxiety about the election results, that would be something to talk to them about. That'd be something to talk to the therapist about. Thirdly, right? Thirdly, what you would want to address with them is, what kind of barrier do you need to set up between yourself and the world of media, or yourself in social media? What kind of barrier might you need to set up? Thank you, Braid King. I appreciate you. Thank you. What kind of barrier might you need to set up in order for you to be able to detox, so to speak, from social media? Because there's going to be people that are on there to antagonize you. There's going to be people on there to say more disparaging things. Them same folks at your job that are going to throw salt in the wound. Them same folks are going to be on the internet saying wild ass shit. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be on there getting under your skin. So you need to have somebody to help you develop a strategy on how to deal with that too, right? And if there is limitations that you need to put in place, they'll be able to help you understand why and how much limitation may help you. Okay? Because 4 years is a long time, y'all. It's a long time. Okay? So those would be the 3 reasons that you would seek a therapist to help you deal with your election stress. 1, because you're having difficulty or don't know how to channel your anxiety and anger and fear. 2, because you're having difficulty engaging in things that make you happy and joyful, or you don't know what those things would be that you would engage in that would make you happy and joyful. And thirdly, because you're going to have to figure out what limitations or boundaries you need to put up between yourself and others in order to be able to maintain stability. Okay? Those would be the things. Also, you will want to remember, we talked about grounding. There are different grounding techniques. You might want to talk to a therapist about how often and which one would be the best for you to help keep yourself grounded in this chaos. Okay? How about any questions? What kind of questions do y'all have? What kind of questions? What kind of questions do y'all have before we move on to sad season? Questions or comments or things that you might be doing that have helped you. I'll tell y'all some things I've been doing. Most of y'all that have been following me a long time know that my grounding that I like to do is go outside and put my bare feet in the ground, because we're electrical beings, like down to a molecular level. You can explain our existence with energy and how energy moves. Those of you that ever took any type of chemistry and biology classes, that makes sense to you, because down to our atomic level, it takes energy in order for us to be alive. Okay, so our energy is opposite of the Earth's energy, and so as we know, opposites attract. So any extra energy that we're dealing with that could exacerbate our anxiety is being pulled towards the Earth. Okay, because opposites attract. Opposite charges attract. Okay, and you can look that up for yourself if you don't believe me. Look up grounding and why grounding is important, and you can read it for yourself. So you might want to talk to your therapist about ways to ground and ways that would be best to ground for you. What resources do you have available to ground? And mindfulness activities that might be best for you, because it's going to take, I'm telling y'all, I'm just going to be very frank. It's going to take a lot of grounding, a lot of mindfulness, a lot of breathing, a lot of being sure you're on top of your mental health to get through this next 4 years. I'm just going to be frank. It's going to take all of that. This is not a time you want to try to slack on your mental health because things could get real strange. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. But what kind of questions do y'all have? I've been grounding. I have been cutting off. I've been staying off of social media a lot longer during the day, which has really helped me. A girl that I met at church a while ago said some sort of weirdo, like, "Make America Great Again" statement. And I said, is that what something Jesus would say? So that was annoying, but I noticed that I was able to get through that very much faster than if I had not let myself ground, let myself engage in my breath work, let myself stabilize in the morning before I jump on and engage with other people. So stuff has been able to roll off my shoulder a lot easier because I have been very intentional about making sure that I've been grounding, being mindful, and doing the things to take care of myself, drinking my water, taking my medicine, just taking care of myself before I engage with the other people. Yeah, I get that. I get not being able to watch him on TV. Yeah. God has brought me through too much. This is not the time. But yeah, definitely hang on to your higher power. I definitely say do that. And I say generally, my higher power is God and Jesus, okay? But whatever your higher power is, hang on to it, okay? So that you can find solace there as well, because spiritual practice and maintaining any organized spiritual practice that you enjoy is also going to be very helpful, right? I'm going to be doing that more on my own outside of the building setting because, as it turns out, more of the people in the building setting probably will trigger me personally. So in order to keep myself from being triggered personally, I'm going to just do the spiritual practice on with myself. Okay? Me, myself, God, and Jesus, right? Because again, there are church people out there saying some real wild and crazy things, and I just can't roll with it. So in order to keep myself safe, so I can continue to be top notch for the people that pay me to serve them, I just won't be going to the building, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Questions? Do y'all have any types of questions or comments that you would like to make? Any type of questions or comments that you would like to make? Thank you, Mama Nee. Any questions or comments that y'all would like to make before we move on to sad season? Anything before we move on to sad season? I just wanted to handle the election stuff. Or if you don't necessarily have a question, you can make a comment. You can. It's okay if you would like to comment and tell me your thoughts. They're welcome here, right? Because like I said in my video, for those of you in the video that I just posted about the election stress, it's actually not 67. It's actually, when I looked again today, it's like 69 million of us who voted for equality and not division. I think it was 71 million that did vote for division. But the fact that it's at least almost half of America that voted for equality, that's still, you got it. Those are some things you might can draw a piece from. Yes, there are still more hateful people in the world that want division and inequality. There's 71 million of those type of people. But then there are 67, no, What I say? Because it was like only 5 million more of the people that don't want equality than there are of those of us who did vote for equality. So um it's almost half though of us that are like decent human beings that wanted to vote for equality and progressive movement forward for everyone to be treated the same and not different. Um, but unfortunately, there were 71 or 72 million that voted for their own personal interest. We'll just say it that way, right? But I will take half as progress because it very much could have been only 25% of America voted for equality, but we got almost half of America to vote for equality. So, looking for the silver lining is very helpful. Looking for the silver lining. Also, for those of us that did vote for equality, unless something really radical happens, and the 22nd Amendment is ratified again, which I don't know how often that happens. It hasn't been ratified since the early, I can't remember. Who knows when Franklin D. Roosevelt's last year, his last term was. If you know it, I'll give you $50. I'll cash app you $50. Come on, quick with it. Don't Google it. You gotta know it. But unless they change that to accommodate the president-elect in some way, which would be a really radical thing, it's only gonna be 4 more years of this. And after that, it can never happen again because as the 22nd Amendment is written now, no person can serve in the presidential office more than 2 times. More than 2 times, period. It's not 2 consecutive times. It's just twice, period. So if you run and then you lose for 8 years and you run again, and the first time and the last time you ran, those are your 2 terms. You get a total of 2 terms. So that is another silver lining, if you will. Okay. Let us see about any questions before we move on to sad season. Doesn't look like we have any. All right. Well, comments too. Feel free to comment. He served, but he didn't serve a complete 4 terms. On his 4th term, he unalived a year into that term. And then that's when they ratified the Constitution again to say that no person can serve 2 terms after he unalived in his at the beginning of his 4th term. You can only do twice. You can only serve 2 terms, period. Okay? You can only serve 2 terms, period. So I just was like, let's just go on ahead and get it over with because y'all know he was just going to keep running until he unalived, right? And so in 4 more years, it's possible we would have had to deal with the same stress and anxiety. So let's just go on ahead and get it out the way now so that it can never happen again, right? Yeah, a lot of damage can still be done. Absolutely. That's why we talked about things. That's why I'm like, if you never thought you needed a therapist before, this is definitely going to be the time because damage will probably most definitely be done. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'd have to research how possible that is for another ratification of the Second Amendment or the 22nd Amendment to happen. I don't know if that is even something he can do. He'll want to do a lot, right? But what he's actually able to do is a different thing, right? But I think, like I said, I'm happy that almost half of America voted on the side of equality, and they did that with our vice president only having about 6 months to campaign, 6 months or less, right? So that was phenomenal, I think. But unfortunately, the future president-elect has been campaigning much longer, if you will, right? Yeah. And building ideologies much longer. They all think the law don't apply to them. So they're going to damn sure try and change it as much as they can. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. But we just got to see how possible it is for them to change things, right? Especially such extreme things, right? Let's move on to sad season. If y'all could keep tapping the screen, sharing the live, so we can move on to our next point of discussion, which is seasonal affective disorder. Remember a few weeks ago when we were talking about coping, we were talking about different ways to cope, such as mindfulness and grounding and meditation, and how effective they are. I told you that we were going to talk about sad season, which is also known as seasonal affective disorder. And it's a season because it starts around October, November-ish until like February, March-ish. So a good portion of the year, at least 2 seasons, the fall and winter months, right? And that's very hard, especially during this election season. Like, so every 4 years is probably a lot harder, or could be a lot harder than it would have ordinarily been anyway, because again, we talked a lot about sleep hygiene and even changing your circadian rhythm, how it makes it harder to focus, and how that causes you to feel frustrated and stressed, which causes you to sleep less, and it's just like an endless cycle. So that's a lot of the reason. When the daylight savings changes and things, move around abruptly, it can mess your sleep up. So we talked about a few weeks ago how important it is to maintain your sleeping habits, or keep them as consistent as possible, so that you don't have to deal with the extra added stress of how bad sleep hygiene could make your mood. We also talked about during these months needing to increase your self-care. So maybe in the summer and spring months, you do twice a day meditation and deep breathing. Well, in the wintertime, in the fall, you might need to do 3 times a day, something like that. But again, that's something that may be best suited for you to talk to a personal therapist about, so they can tailor your treatment plan for you and what'll work for your life. Because I'm just telling you general things, but those things need to be tailored to you individually. Because what works for me is not going to work for you. I might need more of something. You might need more of something. I might need less of something. You might need less of something. So definitely these are still good, but at the same time, you need a trained professional to keep a close, be able to assess you and see really what's working for you and what's not, and what needs to be changed, or whatever needs to happen sooner rather than later for you personally, someone helping you personally with your treatment plan. Because if you're in your situation, it could be hard to see the things you're missing, right? especially if you're feeling this way. You might notice yourself being more irritable during this time, and this is experienced by several million people, okay? Again, a big group of people, so it's not uncommon. It's actually very common for people to experience seasonal affective disorder, or seasonal depression is what we call it. So you don't have to feel alone if you notice that. Like, just abruptly your mood changes, you become more irritable in the past few weeks, you've gotten less sleep, you felt more tired, you know, your appetite maybe has changed. It's all the same symptoms of depression, but they happen more intensely during that winter and fall season. So that's why, and because of the change in daylight savings, that could also change not only the amount of sunlight you have exposure to, but also your circadian rhythm as well. All those components is how we come up with the seasonal affective disorder, okay? And so because of that, that's why I talked to y'all very intensely a few weeks ago about coping. What does it look like to positively cope? What does it look like to negatively cope? What are some examples of some scientifically proven things that will help you outside of just taking a pill, which is grounding, mindfulness, meditation, sleep hygiene, those things that have been studied and proven to decrease symptoms of anxiety and depression and stress by at least 25%, if not more. That's without medicine. So then you have that plus therapy. And then if you need medicine, then we're talking about from 25 to at least 75% improvement, if not more. All right. That's just general numbers. So this is why this stuff is very important that I present to y'all, because it's going to really help you feel better sooner. Because the worse that we start to feel as humans, the worse we start to act, and the less we're able to maintain. I'm going to say that one more time. The worse we feel as humans, the worse we act, and the less we're able to maintain. So if you don't want to act nasty and you don't want to lose the ability to manage the things that you have, you definitely don't want to ignore these symptoms. If you've noticed changing in your sleep habits, eating habits, changes in your mood, changes in your energy level, you need to go get that assessed, because it can progress very quickly to the point of even having unaliving thoughts, or SI, okay? And it can roll up on you fast, and I don't want you to be in a crisis and not have somebody to help you, because once you're in the crisis, there's a lot more that may need to take place, such as getting on medication. So I'm trying to help you be proactive by presenting this information to you and telling you what you need to do if you're noticing any of these symptoms. Definitely, you can feel free to click the link in our bio to see if we are a good fit for you, but I don't really care where you go. I just care that you go, okay? Whether it's me or some other therapist, I want you to see somebody so that you can be sure that this double whammy this year, okay, is not going to take you under, right? I don't want you to be taken under. Any questions? Questions, comments, concerns? Questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, I know they did. They did. They did. They definitely did. Sandra, they definitely let him get away with a lot. Any questions or comments over here about sad season, or even how to cope through the election stress? Questions? I'm just making myself available. Not as a therapist, but as somebody who can, as a mental health advocate, somebody who can guide you to a therapist, okay? Because I don't want y'all saying, she providing therapy online. No, I'm not. Y'all have not signed the informed consent with me. Not in this setting. You would have had to sign the informed consent on the bike end. So if you didn't sign it on the bike end, I'm not your therapist. But I can guide you to a therapist. Hey, Car Dog, do you want to say hello? Come here. Mr. Carter has come to say hello to everyone. Come here. Come here. Pets are great too. So if anyone would like to babysit Mr. Carter for some emotional support, you are more than welcome. Just hit me up in my DMs. He does travel. So, we can put him in an Uber and Uber him to you, most deaf. And he's great emotional support. Him just is. That's just what him is. Actually, he's very smart and he's trained. He's housebroken. And him is funny built, so him fun to look at. Say hi, Mr. Carter. Say hi. Him a sweet baby. Okay. Go on, boy. I let him take him because I had to board him. I let him take his cave bed because he's one of them dogs that likes to burrow under stuff. And I don't want him burrowing under my blankets in my bed. So I buy him a bed to burrow in. And they said he stayed up under his cave for the whole first day. I'm like, good. That's why I buy him that cave bed. So if he feels anxious, he can just burrow himself up under it, right? Him a funny man. Him is. All right. So y'all don't have any questions? Y'all don't have any comments? I did what I came to do. I did. I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick the giveaway back up next week. Okay. We're going to do that. And do a giveaway next week, next Thursday, with our next topic. It's also Men's Health Month. I usually do get into that. But again, with it being an election year, we had to squeeze definitely addressing that in. Couldn't let that go unaddressed. It would be remiss. I'd be remiss to let that go unaddressed. Right? So, especially with how my brand is like really social justice focused. So it's just like to not address how people feel that think like me would be a disservice. All right. Well, perfect. I'm going to see you guys next week, right? 8 p.m.-ish Central Standard Time, unless I run late with my last session, then it'll be the ish. But if I don't run late with my last session, it'll be more the 8, okay? Which is 9 p.m.-ish Eastern, which is 6 p.m.-ish Pacific, which is 7 p.m.-ish Mountain, just so you know for your respective time zones. Definitely feel free to click the link in our bios before on all of our platforms. Click my profile and click the link. Feel free to share that link with your friends, family, and coworkers by copying and pasting. All right, either in a text, a DM, a messenger, an email, whatever. Feel free to copy and paste the link in our bio to your friends, family, coworkers, and church members so that they can take advantage of our services and take advantage of what we do here on social media. But until next time, you guys be super safe out here, and please do not ignore what I said about engaging in therapy, okay? because this is the time to do it. We'll talk soon.